Good evening from London, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are listening to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. Your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. And today, it's Friday, and you know what that means. It means it's time for the weekend preview. We're also, of course, going to give you some updates on the Vince McMahon and Brock Lesnar stuff. Never the most, well, obviously not the most fun thing to talk about, but we're going to go through that in the first 10 minutes of the show. Update you guys with everything new because a lot more has come out in the last 24, 48 hours. But before I do that, let me introduce the co-host of the show today, Clark Taylor. Clark, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. Happy Friday, everybody. I'm stoked to be here as always. We got a bunch of great wrestling to break down here. And then we've obviously got the sore subject, the not fun one, as Ben mentioned earlier, but we will cover that early in the show, and then we'll get into some better stuff with the wrestling talk. I'm excited to be here as always. Happy Friday, everybody. We got the sweetest crew in the game, don't we?
Absolutely. We truly do. Also joining us today, we have the Tuesday Night Delight himself on a Friday, working overtime this week, and I think this is his third or fourth podcast in a row this week. Shad, how are you?
Throw them twos up, man. The Tuesday Night Delight is in the building on a Friday, like you said. The weekend is here. I'm excited for that. And I got to do a shameless plug. Sunday night, make sure you watch our Vengeance Day review show. But I'm good, man. I'm blessed to be here. I'm excited to talk about the topics, and I'm excited to talk with such a prestige panel.
Absolutely, it's going to be a fun show, that is for sure. But last but certainly not least, we have Soul joining us today. But Soul, my question for you is, do you know it or do you not? And if you guys don't know what this new segment... If you guys don't know what this segment is, it's a 45-second quiz where essentially I'll ask you a range of different questions about a specific topic. If you answer it and you get it wrong, I'll say the correct answer. If you answer it, get it right, I'll move on. And if you say pass, I'll immediately move on and then say the correct answer later on. However, you can only skip 3 questions, right? Because there's only so much researching I can do. So your 45 seconds, right, Sol? So without further ado, do you know it or do you not? AEW Revolution 2022 quiz. Your time starts now. Who won the Face of the Revolution ladder match?
Wardlow.
Correct. What was the longest match on the card?
CM Punk MJF.
Correct. Who walked out of the event as tag champions?
Luchasaurus and Jack Perry.
Correct. Who did Jade Cargill defeat?
Ty Conti.
Correct. What was the name of the Andrade and Matt Hardy team?
The Andrade Family Office.
Wrong. The Andrade Hardy Family Office.
Oh.
What was the main event?
Adam Cole versus Hangman Adam Page.
Correct. What former WWE star debuted at the event I started so you can finish it?
Trick Williams. Strickland. Come on.
I don't think I can give you that one. I don't. I don't.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Trick Williams?
Uh-huh.
Look, Trick Mills was on my mind and all that.
Okay. I like it.
Comments.
Look,
I think you had 9 correct, which is about
You gave him all the easy ones.
8 or 6 better than the other two got this week.
You-
But
I'm deducting points for getting that.
I don't
Calling
count.
Trick
Yeah.
Williams, bro.
Trick Williams was
yeah,
a
I mean, that
wild
was
man.
certainly something. Also, for some reason, we're not live on Instagram today. Why? I don't know. It's just not working. I've tried it 3 times. Now, I think it's a genuine issue on Instagram's end.
It's bugged out.
So am I at the top of the leaderboard now? Am I the king?
You technically are, Sol. I did give you the easiest topic, but even
Leader
still,
in the
I didn't
clubhouse.
expect you to do that well.
Well, it's only my first ever wrestling show. I
Jokes
went
on
to,
us.
so
He
it's
watched it
fine.
yesterday.
Yeah, we're all chasing.
I was
souls these
there.
days.
I was there in person. Of course, I know. What was
Oh,
going
never
on
mind.
actually.
Well, you didn't say that beforehand. Like I said, Ben gave you all the easy ones.
To be fair, I guess I
Swear.
did.
Hip
We
hop,
got Chris-
hippopotamus.
We got Chris Leclerc saying tonight on SmackDown we're going to hear from Bayley and we're going to find out her decision to who she'll face at WrestleMania. We're talking about that later on today's show. But without further ado, let's just jump into the first topic. And this is the uncomfortable topic, the topic which don't really want to talk about, but we need to talk about. Because we need to talk about it so something like this will never happen again in wrestling. But if you guys haven't heard the update to do with the Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, Brock Lesnar situation, here they are. The Wall Street Journal are now reporting that the FBI have been investigating Vince McMahon since last year, and that was the reason why his house was searched last summer. Brock Lesnar, who of course was allegedly involved in a situation with Miss Grant, where, you know, Vince McMahon tried to set the two up or whatever, as part of Brock Lesnar's new contract. Well, all of Brock Lesnar's merchandise is now being removed from the WWE Euro Shop, and he's also been removed from the WWE video game WWE Supercard. Most of his merch is also now discounted on the WWE Shop as well. And then the absolute craziest thing, I think, actually, in the last couple of days is that John Laurinaitis' lawyer has come out and has basically said that John Laurinaitis can confirm some of Miss Grant's allegations against Vince McMahon, apart from the ones against himself, because John Laurinaitis was not somebody involved in it with Vince McMahon. He was a victim as well. The lawyer said the following: Mr. Laurinaitis denies the allegations in the misguided complaint, and he will be vigorously defending these charges in court, not the media. Like the plaintiff, who is Miss Grant, Mr. Laurinaitis is a victim in this case, not a predator. The truth will come out. I mean, that was very, very shocking, and the fact that Laurinaitis is, you know, speaking out potentially against Vince McMahon is not going to help his case one bit. But then today, a lot of, you know, we always talk about the dirt sheets. We don't cover them, but we don't cover them here. But there's a few things that they've spoken about in the dirt sheets today about, you know, other incidents and stuff. And like I said, we're not going to cover those today because we don't know who they're from directly and stuff like that. So we're not going to cover them. But responding to this, Mariah Kennelis said, she tweeted the following, saying, "All the news coming out is horrible. Many of us experienced or heard rumors of different levels of evil for years. Some tried to speak up to build momentum to change the culture in WWE. Many times we've been called bitter or crazy. Others have been paralyzed by fear. I just hope justice is served, and I hope this brings some people peace. I pray for all of the victims, I pray for all of the victims, the ones who have spoken up, the ones who are no longer with us," probably referring to Ashley Massaro, of course, who, before she passed
we
away,
can
released a
speculate on that.
statement. Pardon?
For sure. We can definitely speculate on that. That would be the assumed part
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
Ashley Sorrow.
Yeah, definitely. Because before she passed away, of course, she released that statement saying that she was abused by Vince McMahon. Of course, there was no, you know, evidence ever provided. Nothing came of that, but that was a claim she made before she passed away. So we can, you know, make a presumption that perhaps that is whom Kinnelis is talking about there. And then the ones who suffer in silence was the last line of that tweet. I mean, obviously, this stuff, I mean, it's hard to talk about. It truly, truly is, because this is an industry we all love. so much.
It's truly terrifying to think that this was going on for this long, unchecked. It's really, really sad. Obviously, with the investigation and everything, it's going to play out, but it is just it's a tough situation to discuss. And seriously, any victim, obviously, we give our best from Wrestling Republic, no question.
Of course. No, we really, really do, and hopefully, hopefully this will never happen again in wrestling. If this, did happen, of course, we still got to say allegedly at this point, but it's one of those things where it really is. It's so sad as well because we watch the product, all of us, during these times. We were fans during these times, and none of us could even in our wildest, like nobody would ever have imagined anything like this. And when the steroid trials happened, that hurt wrestling for years. And this is probably going to become a bigger story, and it's going to hurt wrestling even far, far worse. And it's really, really, really difficult. But like Clark said, our thoughts at Wrestling Republic are with all the, all of the victims, and we hope that you feel safe to speak out if you want to, because like they're saying, a lot of victims are really scared to speak out because of part of it is even in our comment sections, like some people have just been defending this, and it's like obviously innocent until proven guilty. Obviously that's a thing, but like some of these comments, it's like, come on, these people are speaking out, and these people not only are speaking out, right, but the first person to speak out released text messages when they spoke out, right, because they needed that much evidence initially, because speaking out wouldn't be good enough. And it really is. It's something that's obviously really, really sad to see, but hopefully justice will be served if the allegations are true. But that is all the updates currently on it. Brock Lesnar seemingly, WWE trying to hide him for the time being. Vince McMahon out of the company, being investigated by the FBI, according to the Wall Street Journal. And John Laurinaitis has seemingly switched up. And well, let's now try and move on, in the best way we can, because of course after a subject like that it's difficult to move on, but we're going to do our best, and let's talk about what we all love, and what we all love is wrestling, and hopefully that behavior stays out of wrestling, right? Let's leave that in the past and let's move forward, because tonight on SmackDown, Cody Rhodes will be showing up, and he will presumably be confronting Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns is also showing up. What a shocker there. So we can only presume they're going to get face to face, and I'm excited for it. I've been waiting a year for it. I am getting a bad feeling about this. I really am beginning to think that because of all this news, maybe they're going to do Reigns versus Rock at Mania after all, and do Rollins versus Cody, which I think would be the most stupid thing they could do. Because I've said it before, I think Reigns is winning at Mania, but Cody choosing Seth, Cody's going to look like an idiot. Like, why? That's not finishing your story. I don't know. I am slightly getting worried that's the case, Clark. What do you think?
So it's really funny. I was looking at, we posted a reel about me talking about Punk and that situation with Rollins and whatnot. And I was looking in the comments, and there was a few people that mentioned that I want Roman Reigns to go over at WrestleMania. That's not what I said. I think Roman Reigns will go over at WrestleMania. Let me be clear on that.
Same here as well.
Cody Rhodes has an opportunity tonight for the first time all year, which is why I levied my complaint in the first place, is that it's taken this long for him to address the key plot line of the story we've been trying to finish. Tonight's the time. If you're gonna do it face to face with Roman Reigns, do it. The pressure, in my eyes, is on Cody, and he's got the ball, and the clock is ticking down. Mania season wise, if he delivers something huge, I'll be the first to admit I'm wrong. If I feel like all of a sudden, what Cody said changed my mind. Do I see that happening? Nope. I've been let down too many times on finishing the story. We can extend it as long as we'd like, but let's tell it too. Start tonight. If I'm being positive, if I'm being realistic, we'll see what happens, man. I'm not totally sure. This is a tough one for me because Rock Reigns makes a lot of sense too. It does.
Yeah, but Cody Rollins doesn't. Like, that's the thing.
I know it makes no sense. Cody's 3-0 against him. I don't get it either.
But not even that. He's won the Royal Rumble. That's not the title to finish the story.
3-0. If he picks the guy he's 3-0 against, he's a heel.
That's a good point.
If he picks the guy he's beaten 3 times, he's undefeated. I mean, what? No. Please, please, please just target Roman Reigns tonight. That's what I'm saying there. Is just target Roman Reigns and really lean into the actual story. Give us the story and do it on the microphone. And do not ask me what I want to talk about because that's all I want him to talk about. Don't ask. Just talk.
He's going to come out and he's going to say, for the first time in a while, I know what you all want me to talk about. Because I don't know if you noticed, Clark, but the last few weeks on Raw, Cody stopped saying what you want to talk about. So he still says it, but he doesn't say it like he used to. He used to go, so what do you guys want to talk about? Now he says it in a sentence. And the reason for that is because the last few times he's done it, where he's just said it to the crowd, they didn't respond. So now he's just saying it in a sentence and he's like, and he always says, I know you guys are going to say what you want to talk about, but I need to talk about this, or I already know what you want to talk about. And he's been doing it for a few weeks now. It'll continue tonight, I'm sure.
He's going to talk about it. He's going to talk about something. And I want the story to be what's talked about. And I want him to target Roman Reigns. Just do that.
I have no doubt it'll be a great segment tonight. I have absolutely no doubt about it. But I'm worried at the small chance they are going to have Cody go to Seth. Oh, I don't know. Bobby Petito's looking forward to it, though. And so am I. I am. But, I mean, what about you, Soul? Are you beginning to have any concerns over if Cody will pick Reigns?
No. Why in good God would Cody pick anyone else but Reigns?
That's my point.
The merch is going in that direction. It was the biggest seller at the Royal Rumble event. The game is basically his thing. He's on the cover. It's finished the story. The WrestleMania 39 match between him and Roman is like highlighted in that showcase as well. And they're adding the 40 stage. So if they're going to add a match to go with that 40 years of WrestleMania, the match you want to add is the one that leads to the finish of the story, the conclusion of the whole showcase. That makes sense to me. I mean, I just don't get it. I really... honestly, don't get me wrong, I'm happy that they're actually face-to-face in the ring because that's been my biggest pet peeve with the last time this happened at 39. There was hardly any interaction with them in the ring until, I think, a week before. So now they're doing it immediately after Rumble. I'm happy with that. And I honestly think there will be amazing promos as well. I just don't think we'll get a repeat of last year. I think it will truly end. It will be finito, done and dusted. It will be like The Godfather. It will be like a nice 2-part, and then we're not going to get a Godfather Part 3 where it all goes off the edge. We're going to be absolutely fine with this. I have faith because honestly, with Cody as champion, I probably would be more enticed to watch WWE more regularly just because I think Roman Reigns, this whole bloodline thing has just been going on for way too long. So yeah, if Cody somehow does pick Rollins, then he's definitely got a thick skull because he's an idiot.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm just worried. Maybe I'm just over worrying, but it's just with everything going on, the injuries, the headlines being, directed towards other stuff. I really am worried they're gonna just. And this segment on Monday, that's what's made me worried. It really, really has. And Rollins on Twitter, Rollins is gonna now look like an idiot too if Cody picks Reigns, which I hope he's gonna do still, because all week long, Seth's been tweeting at him, like all these ideas and all that. The title's going to look secondary again. It already was secondary, but at least there was a little bit of, well, it's the workman's title. He's going to look like an idiot. But oh well. Shard, what's your take on all of this?
As a individual that did finish his story this past year, I can give great advice to my man Codemeister out on the WWE spectrum. Let me put it like this, Ben. It is a disservice if Cody Rhodes does not go and have that match with Roman Reigns. I know that Dwayne the Rock Johnson is the marquee name, a legend in the WWE atmosphere, a renowned actor. He's gravitated to becoming a icon in pop culture, but that doesn't benefit the WWE for WrestleMania, in my opinion, as a product, and that doesn't benefit the future of WWE by doing that. We realistically will not have The Rock on the WWE for a long time frame if you do this match, and Roman doesn't Roman and The Rock can be a match that doesn't have to have that belt tied to it. And Roman and The Rock doesn't have to happen right in the you know fold of the Mania season the next 2 months. Cody Rhodes needs to finish his story. Cody Rhodes has put a lot of groundwork as a wrestling superstar in the WWE. I haven't seen a clean cut babyface since John Cena the way that we've had with him. And he's a person that's gonna grab the baton, run the relay, and do all the work and do it correctly, do it 100% to a T. They need him to be the world champion, and they need him to be the one to defeat Roman Reigns. You create way more captivating storylines because the WWE is heavy on main stage heels at the moment, a lot of fresh storylines, a lot of opportunities to create better storylines. It's just gonna be the injection that they need, man. We're talking about a very grim time with all stuff that's outside of going on. Focus on, doing right and making sure that the fans can be happy about something. And the fans will be happy if Cody gets to be the world champion. I don't think a ratings boost or just throwing the rock into a title match for Roman does anything. And I don't think Cody winning this title matters at any of a stage but Mania. And to your point, him versus Seth looks dumb for trying to call out Cody. Why, as a champion, would you call out someone who is at the top of the game and has beaten you so many times to a match at Mania just so you can main event it? It's silly, man. If you are a champion, you got to think smarter, not think harder. I know he's the fighting champ, but that's not. I don't care about all the passion and all the promo of that. You look silly doing that, man. I'm not about to get the big dog while I'm a wounded pup trying to defend my title. So, tonight is gonna be telling. I think Cody's gonna be able to have that interaction with Roman. I don't know if we set up the match tonight. Probably not. We got a little bit of time. We got a whole nother pay-per-view coming, but I think we'll get some good groundwork today.
I agree with you completely, Shard. I think you summed that up, very well. Cody Rhodes becoming champion would mean a new era for WWE, and that probably is what's needed right about now. I still don't think he's going to win at Mania. I really, really do not. But Chris Leclerc is saying that he agrees with you. Reigns, The Rock doesn't need the title. I mean,
In the words of a good movie that The Rock starred in, that matchup is about family.
here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? I think Rock Reigns does need the title. And the reason I think that is because I think the main event of WrestleMania needs the title, or the title will look just nowhere near as important as it usually does. And Rock Roman Reigns, whenever it happens, is going to be the main event of WrestleMania because it should be. It's the headline match. And I think if Roman Reigns isn't the champion at that time, well, the championship will just look stupid. That's my argument about it.
My point to it is this: let's say it doesn't happen this Mania, and let's say Cody becomes the champion within this next year. The fact that they do have two nights and one night can be main event for the main title and the other night can be, I guess, for either or title, but I don't think it makes that much of a difference. KO and Stone Cold finished the show when they had their Mania match, right? And that wasn't even on the card. Like, I think there's positions to set main events for what is the most important match, And I
That's
don't.
true.
So it's a wait and see kind of situation. I know WWE does like to throw the title as the cherry on top to make it look prettier. The presentation of the dish looks a lot better when you garnish it with you know all of that type of stuff. But we gotta wait to see.
We do, we really will. Let's now move on and let's talk about Bayley, because tonight on SmackDown, Bayley will be choosing who she will be facing at WrestleMania. And I have some concerns about this one too, right? Something about that segment with Bayley on Raw felt just off to me. And it kind of is because, like, no way are they doing the turn tonight. No way is Bayley going to turn on Io tonight. Like, because Io's been, like, acting like a heel lately and stuff. Like, I don't know if... When it's a faction facing an individual, it's hard to root for the faction. So if Bayley turns on Io, then surely that would make Io the face, but I'm not sure if they really root for Io. It's all a bit of a mess. I thought Damage Control would have to be, very dominantly turn on her. And if they do that tonight... My question is why? Because, like, what? Because Bayley's scared of Nia Jax, so they think she's gonna pick them? Like, I don't particularly get it. I think they could have done this in a better way. I would have actually have had Damage Control turn on her pre-Rumble, and then have had her win the Rumble, because I think that would have made a lot more sense. But I don't know what they're going to do tonight, because it makes no sense for the turn to happen yet. So she might as well pick Rhea Ripley, although I think everybody thinks that it's going to be Io Sky Bayley, and it should be. Shad, what's your thoughts?
They are going to Justin Tucker kick the can, and she's not going to announce who she's going to be facing tonight. This storyline has a little bit more time to tell before what we are going to get, which will be Io versus um, Bayley at WrestleMania. That's got to be the match. I'll say this: Monday night, I agree to your point, but there was a very telling part to it. It's when Nia Jax mentioned the possibility of Bayley versus Io Sky being a match at WrestleMania. And they cut to the outside where Io Sky was holding her belt, like I'm holding my belt. And you saw her facial expression. She looked like, wait, no, that can't be it. I think this is going to be a little slower pace to a build. We do have a few months. We got 2 months till it happens. Maybe within the next coming weeks. Maybe it happens at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. But I think we're going to see the can get kicked. It may not be enjoyable, but it's going to be Bayley versus Io Sky. That has to be the match for it. Um, you can tell that the Damage Control faction always views Bayley as an outsider for whatever reason it may be, whether you think it's justified because Bayley felt like she had a little bit of control and Damage Control to the beginning of it, or whether they just are tired of her and they view her as a weak spot for her maybe losing a lot. But Bayley has always been the catalyst of the group, and it's a good opportunity where I think Damage Control all the heels. I think Io is the heel. And I think Dakota Kai still is the mastermind of the entire faction, which we'll get to that at some point whenever she's healthy. But I don't think she's going to make her claim today. I don't think her and Rhea Ripley is a Mania match off of storyline purpose. It'd probably be a good match, but Bayley wouldn't beat her. I want Bayley to get her Mania moment, and I think it will be versus Io. So the can will be kicked 50 yards down the field today.
Oh, I do agree with you there. Hopefully, at least, because if they really do it today, I won't be happy. But no, that is a great perspective. I mean, Sol, would you say that you agree?
Yeah, I mean, the thing I can see happening tonight is this. Bayley gets a segment, it's just her, comes out to make the announcement and all that. Then interrupted, or like a backstage thing of like maybe Io has been attacked by attacked by Nia Jax or even Dakota Kai or something like that. And then Elimination Chamber is Bayley versus Nia Jax or something like that, or whoever is attacked. I have to say attacked Io or Dakota or something like that. And then off that, Bailey finds out, she's being played by somebody, and it's shock, it's Io, and that's the reason why she ends up choosing her, because Io views Bailey as a threat. I mean, if you look at the Rumble, the other members of Damage Control, the Kabuki Warriors, they got chucked out at ease. Bailey, she was the Iron Woman. She went for that all the way. So I would see that as a threat, as a leader. So I think that's the way to go. I mean, it's a story there. You want to go with it. But I mean, I think with Bailey as well, I honestly would put Bailey and Io as the main event of night one over anything. Because if you look at it, Sasha Banks, main event, Charlotte and Becky have main evented. She's the only one out of the 4 horsewomen to not main event a WrestleMania in any capacity. And I think with Bailey as well, she's someone that has truly deserved it. I mean, the whole hugger gimmick was great as well in NXT, and going up for there as well, had its wee bit of a rocky period with the whole "this is your life" thing, reinvented herself as well, and has been absolutely tremendous. So I have no problems with Bailey and Io main eventing. Heck, if Punk and Rollins were healthy, I'd be happy with Bailey and Io main eventing over those two.
Wow. Okay. That's controversial, but I mean,
all the Punk fans are now shaking in their boots.
That's right. I forgot. You have an agenda against Punk. That's why. But in all seriousness, I do agree. Bailey, Io Sky should main event night one. I mean, what about you, Clark? How are you feeling about this stuff? Will Bailey make her decision today?
Guys, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? You're out of your minds if you don't think tonight is the night that the damage is finally controlled by the rightful leader, Bailey, and not Io Sky. This is Batista leaving Evolution. She's a babyface the second she beats him to the punch, turns and lets Io Sky know that's her title. She's the one controlling the damage around here, has been the whole time. She'll take out the Kabuki Warriors. She'll take out all of them. Fighting from underneath. She will be the babyface in this one. It's Batista, Triple H, Evolution. A thumbs up, thumbs down in my eyes, without question. That's what has to happen tonight. For this to be the rivalry it needs to be and deserves to be, it's got to happen tonight. It's got to happen tonight so that Bailey can be opposite Io Sky, and we're just begging for them to lock up at Mania. That's what I want to happen. And that's what should happen. Because Bailey deserves it. The crowd cheered her when she won the Rumble. She's already a pseudo face. She's in that territory where she's so good as a heel. People are cheering her anyway.
But they're doing the same for Io too, though. That's the thing.
They're not. They won't be when Io's trying to convince her and is convinced that she's signing to fight Rhea Ripley at Mania, and then, oh no, throws the clipboard aside.
It's risky.
I want you. I'm telling you right now, the crowd will be behind Bailey. Bailey deserves it. She's earned it. I'm calling it.
They like Io Sky though too. It's risky. It really is. But if maybe it will happen tonight, we'll have to wait and see. But now it's time to move on. Now it's time to move on to our big segment for today. I can see Shad disagreeing with Clark's take there. But I want to talk. That is certainly something we could probably talk about tomorrow. But for right now, I want to talk about these AEW rankings because they're back. They're back after a couple of years of being away, right? And a lot of us were quite excited for the return of these, okay? I was never a big fan of them, but I understand they were a big part of AEW's identity. So I'm not criticizing that at all. But my issue, right, is that there was an issue before that everybody said when there was a TNT Championship and the AEW Championship. Why on earth are there, is it the same top 5 for both titles? That's just too confusing. And now you have like 4 men's titles on there. So it's even more confusing. You have a few for the women's. It's like a headache looking at the rankings. It really, really is. Also, I mean, I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Why is it a top 5? Like, that just makes it seem so unrealistic. At least have it be a top 10 or a top 20, even top 15 or whatever. Because that's, a bit better. Top 5, that's just a bit stupid. That is just so easy. You can manipulate that so easily, which I guess is the point in it. But I'd have had, like Clark suggested before as well, I'd have had different rankings for each title, because that makes a lot more sense, right? Where you can choose which title you're going to go for, like on WWE 2K16, I think it was. Do that. That's how to make these rankings work. And also, these rankings which have come out, they're just absolutely ludicrous, some of them. I mean, what's her name's only had 2 matches? Deonna Purrazzo, who I'm a big fan of, she's only had 2 matches, and she's like the number 1 contender. Like, what? I mean, it's all... I don't know how to feel about this. I really, really don't. I feel like it's come back in a bad way. I feel like they should have had different rankings for each title and maybe a top 10 for each as well. But Saul, what's your thoughts?
Good googly goo. It's only been 48 hours and now we're already having the complaints about the rankings. Good God, man. Come on now. With Faber, time is not having patience for anybody today. But, of course, the rankings. Oh, it's fine. Good shit. I've never been bad. Look, here's the thing with the rankings, right? They're fine. I've got no problems with them. Now, you are immediately thinking, Soul, you always say you have no problems with AEW. You think it's the pristine chapel, which I do think so myself. But here's the thing, right? You mentioned, why would anyone challenge for any of the other titles, right? You would think, oh, immediately go for the World Championship. Well, in WWE, why do people challenge for the United States? Why do people challenge for the Intercontinental? Why do in NWA do they challenge for the National?
Because they're not good enough for the world title. I mean, that is pretty much why.
Oh, come on now. How do you think we can elevate these titles if big people don't go for them? So here's the thing with this, right? You look at the titles there, right? Now, obviously, we don't know how it's explained to us how it works, right? Maybe Tony Khan should do something on the control center, like a wee little explanation going into the rankings and how things work. Maybe it's people can pick which title they want to go for. Maybe the champion has to accept it, right? We also know, looking at the rankings, Adam Copeland's up there and Hangman and Swerve are up there. Now that's understandable because we've got Hangman and Swerve at Dynamite. Adam Copeland's been doing his Cope Open and he wants to go for Christian Cage. Yes, he could go for the world title, but he has a feud and an anger and a hatred toward Mr. Christian Cage. So that's where he's going as well. Roderick Strong's on there as well. He's clearly made his intentions going for the international championship because that's the plan of the mastermind himself, Adam Cole. He's told Roderick to go for that. He's a part of the faction. He's agreeing to the faction's wishes. So he's going for that. The Continental Crown as well that Eddie Kingston holds. Anyone could go for that. I feel like it's going to be Bryan Danielson who's going to go for that. That'd be very interesting, something for me. Now,
he's not ranked.
He's not ranked, true, but maybe we could see Bryan Danielson's going against some CMLL talent. Maybe that could be something that goes on the rail, builds up his rankings. See, it works. And as well, he's going to be on that 8-man as well against some CMLL talent as well with the Black Hole Combat Club. Probably add to his rankings as well. Now, you mentioned the women's there as well, right? Deonna Purrazzo just being recently introduced and already being, I think she's number 1 or 2, correct, right?
Number 1, I believe.
Number 1. Well, that's fair enough as well. I mean, it makes you wonder why immediately, but she has gone in and done some great matches and has some banger matches in itself. But obviously, it's clearly that Tony wants to go for it. Now, obviously, with the rankings as well,
does the challenger choose the rank? Does the champion choose the rankings then?
No.
Here's the thing, right? With the rankings, right? It's at the end of the day, wrestling is an entertainment format. It's supposed to have some leeway. You have to take some leeway with it, right? But it's another thing that makes AEW unique. They're trying to be more sports-based. Look at the Continental Classic. It's an addition to it. Now, I don't think the rankings are going to go the way with AEW Dark and Elevation. That's when things went too insane because you would include Dark rankings, you include the Elevation rankings, and they would all go into a massive spiral.
You'd end up with like 22-1 records that made no sense.
Bingo, exactly. So I think now it's going to be a lot more controlled as well. You can incorporate the rankings into some bookings. As I mentioned before, you could have one match on Rampage and that would get you an extra win. So there's something there. But I also think as well that at the end of the day, it's just for fun. We have to enjoy this, have fun, smiles.
It is, but you can't say you're trying to be a sports, like product and then do rankings just, based off storylines, I guess. Deonna's had 2 matches in AEW and she's first. It makes no sense.
I mean,
none whatsoever.
Thunder Rosa's on there, and she's only had a couple of matches as well. So I think,
in fairness, she lost the title she didn't lose the title. She dropped the title without actually losing it. So Thunder Rosa makes sense, to be fair to them. I'll defend that one. Deonna makes no sense whatsoever.
Well, here's the
But
thing as well. Like
Shad,
I've seen people.
sorry, finish. So finish.
Quickly say that for the tag teams as well. Like I've seen people complain about like the Dark Order being on there as well, but they've been quite heavily recently. You know, Homecoming, they were on there as well. Did some stuff on Rampage, and I feel like the people who are complaining about the rankings don't watch everything. Like if you watch Rampage or even see the ranking highlights on the AEW Instagram, you'll be caught up. So honestly, fellas, you know, don't complain about something if you don't watch it. Come on now, be sensible.
Aren't they 1-1 though this? Like, aren't they 1-1 this year? Dark Order.
I'm pretty sure
Like
they're
that.
two or. I mean, here's the thing: rankings.
Oh, that's
do
not okay.
reset.
2-1's not as bad, I guess.
Remember as well, lads. The rankings reset every year. We have 2024 rankings, so maybe that's why Tiana's at number 1.
Boom.
Reset ranking goes into the new year, so that's why she's 2. Come on now, use our brains. We're smart individuals.
Why do they reset? Why do they reset? Why do they reset? Like that doesn't happen in any. Okay, I know people are going to be like, oh, in things with seasons, but it doesn't make.
That's their rules, Ben.
It's stupid.
Rules.
Like if you're gonna try and make it like UFC, if you're gonna try and make it like the boxing, then make it like it. Don't just try and give me this half-bothered stuff. But Shad, I want to hear your thoughts.
I'll be honest with you. This is what gravitated to me about AEW when it first initially happened. I thought the ranking system was unique. I think it's a very clever way to get people an opportunity to create storylines and make storylines and have people in position for premier opportunities. You know, if you're going tooth and nail, fighting, winning matches on a winning streak, then you deserve an opportunity for one of the major belts. And it is a good way to do it. And I think the issue was, to y'all's point earlier, it was the inflated numbers, right? It was these dark elevation matches where a person like Anna Jay, right, who we see lose a lot on weekly television, had like a 30-6 record, right? 30 wins on Dark and Elevation, but every time I see her on Dynamite, she loses. That's not cool. That makes the viewer like, well, I don't watch that, and I don't have time to pay attention to that. Or you're not showing it visibly on the weekly television that these people are winning these many matches. So it's re-brought into it. It's kind of fresh again. We haven't seen it in a little bit. It gets the fans excited. And to your point, Deonna Purrazzo, she's new into it. This is a good opportunity to streamline her to get victories. It's not one of these positions where we just throw her on the map in a match with Toni Storm. She's got to fight her way to get up the rankings to get that match with Toni Storm. You can do that within the men's division. You got a lot of young up-and-coming guys who are great workers, and you can get them wins and eventually get matches for all the premier belts. I like it. I like AEW having its own identity and staying and sticking with that identity. That's what an alternative is supposed to be. And I think Tony is smart for bringing it back.
I agree with you completely. I agree that it's part of their identity. It's unique. I love it. I love that. And I said a few weeks ago, this is great as long as they do it right. But I think they've already doing it wrong. I think the dark thing, at least that's good. At least that's gone. But you've got 5. It's actually 5 championships, I believe, for the men's one. And there's 5 names. So technically, everybody in the top 5 should get a title shot. So it's pointless of it.
It's 4.
There's 4. Okay, well, top 4 should all get a title shot. Like, what's the point in having a top 5 if 4 of them get title shots? And then how do you work out which one gets which title? It's stupid, right? It's absolutely stupid. Why do you have 4 singles titles if they all are just non-stipulation in the first place? I don't get it. It's absolutely pointless. Clark, calm me down.
I got this. To be honest, I made the suggestion about the rankings being specific to the titles themselves. I think that's the move. I don't have as big of a problem with 5 as you do. 10 would be nice because I'd like to see those random matches be maybe you have an unranked opponent versus somebody lower in the rankings, an 8 or a 9 in the rankings, almost like when you turn on college basketball and you see an unranked team beating a ranked team. It's more exciting, right? When you're just flipping channels during the season. It's a big fun American tradition, right? Like we saw Nebraska beat unranked Nebraska, came back from 16 down and beat number 6 in the country, Wisconsin, just last night. And that type of stuff is exciting. And for booking, I think can make stories make sense and make what we would have criticized in the past as random booking make sense. I also think, and don't bug out on me on this, I think they need to reset the rankings every pay-per-view. I think they need to reset the records and restart the rankings every single pay-per-view. So as soon as Revolution's over, boom, everybody's 0-0 again. Because there's too many matches. It's not the exact same as normal combat sports, MMA or boxing, where you're fighting 4 times a year, 2 times a year at best. We're talking about 30 matches over a 4 or 5 month stretch. And I think those records need to reset, and it makes it easier for storytelling where it doesn't affect talent that has to put other talent over every single cycle. It's only inside of that cycle. I think that organizes the whole system. It makes sense of it. It makes it easier for booking. And not only that, it makes it easier as a talent to put someone else over.
I don't hate that as much as I think you thought I would, but I think it's... I especially wouldn't hate it as if there was a different ranking for each championship. But on that note, guys, we're wrapping up the show. I mean, Chris Leclerc says Sky Blue's number 4, so that's the only person that he cares about. Bobby Petito wants a top 10 or top 50, and I agree. But that brings the show to the close. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you're on Spotify, please leave us a cheeky 5 stars. We're here every day. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about SmackDown. And let's hope it's a good one. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you to Clark. Thank you to Sol. And thank you to Shad for joining me here today. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.